So Yungblud is absolutely one of the fastest rising rock stars out there today. And he's really been the guy that has gotten the most out of Black Sabbath's final show when he came out and had the balls to do the Black Sabbath classic Changes. Everyone was going on and on about it. He was then invited to the VMAs to recreate that performance along with a medley of other Ozzy songs. And at the end, Aerosmith came out. Well, Tyler and Perry, and they did a duet with Yungblud for Mama, I'm Coming Home. And now Yungblud, everybody is looking at him and saying, this dude is the future. When you have someone start to take off like that, there are going to be people to shit on him. And here we have a good example of that in the form of the Darkness brothers, Justin and Dan, the Hawkins brothers, who are essentially one-hit wonders from the early 2000s. They have a really great song called, I believe in a thing called Love. Just now the Hawkins brothers have come out and said, A, the performance was dog shit.
They smell like a pile of bullshit.
B, Yungblud is a poser. Now, as I started to look into that, that's apparently a very common diss that has been lobbed at Yungblud. So I wanted to kind of look at what the Hawkins brothers are saying and see if there's any gravity to it. Now, honestly, the term poser, if you're a young person, you probably don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Somebody who's trying to look a certain way. It doesn't necessarily have to do with rock music. It could be anything. Anyone who's presenting themselves as something that they are not is a poser.
You and me are the only cool people here. Everybody here is just a bunch of posers and hoes and shitheads.
I saw the performance. I thought it was a really solid performance. Yungblud is one of these guys where, like, he doesn't have a band per se. He's always backed by essentially hired people. And I think that's a problem a lot of people have with him, that he's almost set up like the way a pop star would be set up, you know? Britney Spears is not part of a band, but you hire a band to back her. That's how Yungblud is presented. So after the performance, Dan Hawkins, he posted the clip of Ariana Grande shitting her pants, and he says, and I quote, "Another nail in the coffin of rock and roll. Cynical, nauseating, and more importantly, shit." So obviously you make a statement like that. It caused a big hubbub, if you will. And Justin Hawkins, the lead singer of The Darkness, felt the need to come out and maybe explain his brother's point. Justin Hawkins has a very popular YouTube channel. So Justin broke this shit down from the time Yungblud got there all the way till the end of the performance. So first, he started shitting on Yungblud on the red carpet. People were going apeshit about Yungblud on the red carpet. He had these fucking leather pants that barely covered his mons, dude.
You are getting me rock hard.
He was showing muff and hips, and he had fucking makeup on and shit. If you look like that, why are you going to show up all covered up? Is rock and roll is a big part of it not being that dude? Would Robert Plant not show up with pubes poking out and his fucking mons pubis showing?
Fuck that!
Justin Hawkins pointed out, like, oh, this is a rip-off of a Jim Morrison pose.
Right. So what he's done there is what I call the Jim Morrison. You simply cross one leg over the other, you go into the Christ pose.
But that's iconic shit. What type of fucking loser wouldn't take that opportunity?
Kiss my ass, you don't like it.
Yungblud took it And he made the biggest impact. You look around, all these fucking celebrities, they're boring as fuck. Everyone is faceless. It's the same bullshit over and over again. I am begging anyone to stand out, and that's what Yungblud did here. So I mean, I'm down with it. Justin Hawkins went on to say he was even shitting on the way that Yungblud was speaking.
You American girls are mental, man. You're like loud. It's like crazy. Like a different
So I know what
world.
he's doing. I think he's doing Ozzy. I think the tribute to Ozzy actually extends to what he was doing on the red carpet. One difference though, Ozzy was fucking hilarious. He really was funny.
Do you have to be Ozzy to do an Ozzy tribute? I mean, maybe the kid was fucked up and he was just like, well, you know, I don't know. There could be a million reasons for that. So then from there, Justin Hawkins, he tries to truly explain it.
I mean, I suppose one of the things that irks like musicians of a certain age is to sort of watch Ozzy invent heavy metal with Black Sabbath, do his solo stuff with Randy Rose and all this amazing decades of brilliant music, and then sort of see Ozzy turn into like the household name Ozzy, you know, the sort of post-MTV television series Ozzy. And then you kind of think, well, what the fuck does that, all those decades of being brilliant have to do with that? And then what the fuck does all those decades of inventing metal and having this incredible legacy got to do with Yungblud? This posturing is Jim Morrison meets the bloke from Stone Temple Pilots meets everybody else who's ever owned a pair of leather trousers and gone like that. You know, it's really 101. It's School of Rock stuff, you know. It's just the latest in a long line of, I'm sorry to say it, posers.
This is fucking haterism. I can speak to this because I am accused of being a hater pretty regularly. And there is a really fine line between critique and just being a hater. When you're being a hater, you're just looking for things to shit on. Like, oh, he's trying to talk like Ozzy, but he's not funny like Ozzy. Now he's saying, well, it's the Ozzy tribute. You see everything Ozzy did. You know, what does that have to do with Yungblud? What it has to do with it is the MTV Video Music Awards has always been a tastemaker type event. That's why it's the only part of MTV that still survives to this day. The music videos are gone. The TV shows are gone. All that shit is gone, but the VMAs remain. And why the fuck would you have old school guys coming out to rep heavy metal when you could bring out this Adonis who's, you know, he's all greased up and makeuped up. He looks like $1 million.
Calm down, girl.
If there was ever anyone that you needed to physically represent rock music to young people, you couldn't find a much better specimen than Yungblud. I don't know what would have pleased Justin Hawkins. I would like to know, like, what do you think would have been a better representation? Because the reality is, if you bring out the Black Sabbath guys, all these kids are going to sit on their hands and fall asleep. They don't give a fuck to watch grandpas rock out. They don't know who these dudes are, and they don't give a fuck. However, if you put Yungblud up there, now look at that performance. They keep panning to the crowd, and it's nothing but chicks, big smiles, and this is something that rock fans don't get. That you need the poppy rock bands. The poppy rock bands bring the fans in, and then from there, they find out about everything else. Before you know it, a whole universe of music has been opened up to you simply because you went and checked out the popular new shit. Who else could have done it, is what I would ask. I mean, I wouldn't think Justin Hawkins would think he would be the answer. I don't want to shit on the Darkness, but when they came out, like, nobody even knew if their shit was serious or not. So if anything, those guys should know because they were accused of being posers. Justin continues.
What irks musicians of a certain age is the fact that Yungblud seems to position himself I mean, it feels cynical to some people, I think. Not saying that I feel this way, but it feels like he's cynically positioned himself as the natural heir to the Ozzy legacy, having had nothing to do with the really, really important stuff here. So I think people don't understand how he's ended up there.
Another thing that people were bringing up as a thing about Yungblud being a poser is that now in the wake of Ozzy's death, Yungblud has made a point to let everybody know about this necklace that Ozzy gave him and the things that Ozzy told him. And Ozzy was always my hero. I believe he said Ozzy was his North Star and he always related to Ozzy. And we were friends at the end of his life and all that shit. And then, of course, the fact that he's now out here doing these Ozzy covers, if you listen to him talk about it, it does sound like he's sort of over the top. Like, there's no way him and Ozzy were like good-ass friends, but he paints it like they were. I'm sure he did give him a necklace and shit like that, because from all accounts, Ozzy was a really good salt-of-the-earth dude, and he was aware that people loved him and looked up to him and all that shit. Unlike rap and pop and all these other genres, we cling to the OGs. And whenever there's something new, we're like, oh, you're not that person. I would also ask Justin Hawkins, how is this kid ever supposed to get over? If he wants to be a rock musician, what is he supposed to do? If not look to the OGs? I remember when the grunge bands hit, everybody would shit on them because they weren't good enough rock stars. Ugh, fucking flannel. Why don't you get some leather pants, motherfucker? Now here's a kid, leather pants. It's like, oh, you're not real. You're not, whatever. A lot of people have brought up that Yungblud got his start on the Disney Channel. How could he be a real rocker if he was on a Disney show when he was a kid? Listen, everybody has a different path. Alanis Morissette was on You Can't Do That on Television, which was like a little kid skit show on Nickelodeon. And then from there, she released a pop album. Does that mean that all the shit she did later in life was void because of where she got her start? I don't understand what's expected of Yungblud. So I went to the internet and I started looking for why do people feel this way? On some level, he is a poser in the sense that you could tell by listening to his music, it hasn't clicked for him yet. He hasn't found his true voice yet. That's the thing that I found the most online, is that people they didn't feel anything from his music. It seems kind of manufactured, and maybe that is the case. But I do have some comments here from the fans to maybe speak on some of the things that bother people about him. I have my homie Pilolov, who says, what I know of it is that people think he queerbaits, fakes his lower class accent, and puts sad stuff in his songs to pander to people, even though he had a decent upbringing. Just because you grew up in an affluent house, or if you were on TV when you were a kid or whatever, it doesn't mean you can't be depressed. So as far as the queer baiting, Yungblud claims to be pansexual. He'll juggle some nuts, he'll munch a box, he'll do anything. Regardless of gender, if he likes you, Yungblud will get down with you.
Woo! You got a day Wednesday, baby!
I don't know if people maybe don't believe that. Are there dudes out there who can say that Yungblud blew them or they blew him or, they did, whatever?
Look at my hard dick, isn't it right?
Next, my homie wanna put my face in it. Says, here's my opinion. His lyrics / music kind of sucks. Lacks depth, lacks real emotion. He is obviously selling his image of a bad boy to attract a female audience. I'm tired of seeing his big Mick Jagger mouth. I guess he's just too obviously surface level for me to enjoy. He's not making anything I haven't heard before or making me go, wow, what an amazing voice. Like back in my day, by the time you heard a band, they had already been so refined that you were hearing pretty much like a finished product version of that band. Whereas now you hear these bands like from their first demos all the way up through into studio quality shit, because that's that's just the nature of the internet and how people come up and shit like that. And so with Yungblud, like, we're seeing his output as like a really young guy, and you say, well, it's uncreative and it's it's derivative and all that shit. Of course it is. I when I first started painting and illustrating and shit like that, of course I would rip off other people's shit that I liked. It's because I hadn't found my style yet. I hadn't figured out how to do shit on my own. So all I could do was look to other people's stuff. That's how you grow. That's how you learn. That's how you find yourself. I feel Yungblud, he's just not there yet. The talent is there. The potential is there. He's just missing this one thing. And once he finds that, he's going to be a huge star. Anyways, moving on.